What's up everyone, welcome back to another stream. Happy Tuesday, 10th of December already. So let's take a look at the market. Let's take a look at what we can expect for tomorrow trading session. It's going to be CPI, so it's going to be an interesting trading session. Not just CPI in the US, but also interest rate decision in Canada. We are in this phase of the year where we're going to be having central bankers announcing interest rates basically every day, starting now until next week. So expect the last push of volatility in the market in 2025 during this this week and the next week. So what did we have already today? We had the Reserve Bank of Australia keeping the rates unchanged. That was already what was expected. It looks like that the market now is pricing in at a 70% possibility of a rate cut in February. So that's maybe something to pay attention to. Of course, we're going to continue to be data dependent to see if the inflation actually goes in the right direction. Another aspect that is affecting quite a lot, especially the Australian dollar, can be any stimulus from China, something that they basically are projecting to implement again beginning of 2025. So more stimulus to try to create some incentive for the economy to boost a little bit, something that unfortunately hasn't really happening that much in China. But yes, all those stimulus are going to create some boost into the Australian dollar, New Zealand. So those commodities, assets or currencies most likely are going to see a boost in here. Aside from that, it was a quiet day today. Tomorrow is going to be the CPI, expecting to be actually a uptick from 2.6 to 0.7. CPI at this point, I don't really think that the market is that concerned in here unless the number is much higher than expected. I think CPI may be a concern is when eventually Trump takes charge in January, and to see pay attention to what kind of tariffs actually Trump is going to implement that can eventually affect the inflation. Right, so that's something that for sure the Fed's going to be paying attention to, not just the Fed but the market as well. So as I mentioned, it's going to be more of a next year's problem, not exactly tomorrow. But of course, we're going to look for potential volatility in the market, so that's something that we're going to be paying attention to in here. And then of course we have interest rate decision in Canada, expecting a 50 basis points cut rate. That's quite aggressive. They have been decreasing quite steady, to be honest. And so we'll see if that's going to happen again. And then on Thursday it's going to be ECB as we know. So looking at the market, right? So yeah, so we're going to be looking at dollar index, US indices, individual currency pairs, and the commodities, gold, oil, and so on. So looking in here, what we have is the dollar index reacting exactly from the level that we were anticipating. All right, so dollar index exactly reacting from this one. We talked about that potential reaction. Personally, actually, I mentioned that eventually I would like to see dollar index even going slightly above that double top, which hasn't really happened yet. I did mention that there were definitely a fresh level in here that price could eventually react from, and price is indeed reacting from it. After that push to downside in here during the NFPA last Friday, now we have a little bit of a reaction here on the euro dollar. Also, it makes complete sense where price actually is reacting from as well. So that's basically what we had. We had a push initially to the upside, and now price in the evening basically moving a little bit more to downside after that reaction. Again, it's not my favorite because of the double top that you have in here, but if you just look at this level isolated in here, that looks nice, right? So if you just look at this one, I like it because you do have this left shoulder, we have the fake out, and then price basically reacting from that level with a fresh zone in here. So in that sense, I kind of like the level in there. But in the bigger picture, I could see eventually this dollar index taking this highs. Yeah, the turn was a little bit, yeah, it was good. The turn kind of price reacted from it and then starting to move to the downside. Potentially maybe draw even some kind of trend line in here to see if price eventually is going to react or respect that level or not. But breaking this level in here as well makes it interesting. Of course, then you can maybe just see price by any chance is going to react from here or not. So yeah, that's definitely another level in here that maybe can pay attention to. That could potentially hold price to the upside in here. But overall, price basically now reacting from the initial or the lowest range that you have. Right, the lowest range that you have in the on dollar index is basically this one. That's basically the last high that was created all the way to create this low, and now price basically retesting it. And again, the reaction is obvious. And apparently that dollar index is still continuing to make a little bit more of a selling pressure in here. So what to expect tomorrow? Again, I still want to see a little bit more of a clear breakaway from a level. Like eventually when price starts to range for a while within the same range, I don't really want to trade it anymore. I want to start seeing price breaking and giving signals where it wants to go next. So that will be a little bit of a break to the upside in here, or in my opinion, this is still kind of an engulf to downside, even though as I mentioned, price did react from that level. But at this point, yeah, just wait and see. A good reaction. If you want to trade in kind of more intraday levels or in the lower time frame, yeah, pay attention to this one here. That can be definitely where dollar index can react from, and it can even react. I'm not really sure it's going to react one more time from the highs, because I think maybe this retracement was already enough. When price dropped and retracing here, maybe already took the orders from there, to be honest. So I'm not really sure if eventually dollar index is coming back to this level, if there's going to be any more sales in there. Maybe that's the moment where finally price is going to break above this level in here. So yeah, I'll be a bit cautious now with another sell at this size, to be honest. Looking at yeah, looking at US indices, so again, it was a potential sort in there. We have a continuation to the downside. Like, and looking at the US indices, we can actually look first at the VIX. It was something that we talked about last week, and we start talking about when price or when VIX was now approaching this 13 or getting into this 12 mark, which has been, as you can see, a strong level of support in the past, with a kind of a little bit of a demand zone in here that kind of push price to the upside, which we're freaking out all these lows. We're looking for potentially this reaction, and anytime at this point that the VIX is moving to the upside, even though it can be just a small move, we are actually then expecting the US indices to have some retracement. All right, so that's usually when you see a little bit of a correction on US indices. So when you basically just see the correlation in here, anytime you have those pushes to the upside in here, where you see the US indices moving to the downside. So again, looking at this level, basically start talking about that since last week, that the VIX was approaching a really, again, the demand zone that was holding price for a while. Which means that maybe could be getting closer to a retracement on US indices, and that's exactly what we can see in here. Like, it started already as well from last week, and at this point we're just looking for potential zones where price could indeed react from. And in this particular case, S&P, we talked about exactly that yesterday, that you wanted to see. I think yesterday when you were doing the stream, yeah, price was somewhere around this level, and we talked about the scenario where you could see a new low being taken and if broken, and if that's happening, then in my opinion that becomes even a more bearish sign in here. So yeah, new low was broken, then you just had to retrace towards this level. I even like this level in here just before actually price turns or kind of retraces. It managed to break new lows in here. That's usually kind of an engulf to the downside, or an engulf. If it was the opposite to the upside, it would be to the upside. So that usually actually works as an engulf, kind of showing indication that price does want to continue to move more in that direction, and that was kind of a good reaction from here. All right, so that's still a valid reaction. Again, price could eventually still go into those other levels that I have in there, but for now, good reaction. And as I mentioned as well, this one in here could already have been a break to the downside, so maybe price doesn't even want just to respect this level, and maybe wants to get a little bit closer into somewhere in here. All right, so that's something to pay attention to, especially maybe this level in there. So that's something to be aware of and to keep tracking. And on the other side, yes, we start having a little bit of structure here, so maybe you can start seeing a bit of buy pressure as well, because there's starting to be a little bit of liquidity underneath these lows, so price may go. And yes, of course, we still have this demand zone in here. I did mention that price may have already broken that level, so I'm not really interested in looking for longs in here, but price could of course react from it. All right. But to move to downside, that was basically what the most thing that we were looking for since last week, with the VIX reacting from those levels, and it's happening, right? And I think there's still selling opportunities or sell possibility if price does retrace back to the highs. Nasdaq, we talked about this level as well. As you can see, Nasdaq didn't really manage to break that low in here. Still respecting this level, we may have broken this one in here. I didn't manage to break that. So yeah, maybe the potential short in there, it's happening again. This was a level that we dropped from yesterday, right? So again, if you are new, basically these green levels that I'm marking in here are zones where I think that price can still react from, and that was exactly what happened in here. So a good reaction from that supply level, and then price pushing to the downside. Before that, price even kind of created a high that didn't react from that, and then yes, and then it went there and reacted and start pushing to the downside. Now breaking, or potentially now breaking below, or getting close to break those walls in there. So that was a good reaction. There's still, of course, a possibility to go even higher as well. I do like that level. Yeah, but for now, I think Nasdaq could go and eventually fill this level in here, right? So we're looking eventually for Nasdaq to retest the previous all-time high that was created back in July, and eventually from there potentially could continue to push higher. All right, so eventually closer to this level, that's what I'm going to be looking for on that side. Dow. All right, Dow basically closed the gap. Finally, it managed to go all the way and close the gap, and may have been broken. Now still respect this level. All right, so it closed the gap. It was a bit more bearish than the others, and it can definitely still go higher. All right, it can definitely still go. May have some kind of trend line in here, as you can see, kind of respecting that structure. These trend lines, they tend to work more often than not, actually, especially with the indices as well. You do see that the price tends to respect these kind of trend lines that are being created until eventually they get broken, and maybe something new can happen in there. And now we did manage now to break this high, so maybe price, now that it closed the gap, maybe ready to start showing a little bit of bullishness. Right, it finally got into this level that managed actually to break that high. I will create that gap in there. Maybe from here price may wants to find a little bit more of a bullish momentum, but we have a few levels in here that can still hold price to downside, right? And that's basically one of them. Somewhere in here, maybe still wants to continue to hold price down. But that's something to keep an eye on. Of course, you do have essentially this trend line here, but you start breaking these highs, price close the gap, and we may have a little bit of retracement now. DAX in here, right? So DAX, we did manage to break below those lows. Yeah, that's something that we looked for. The price already went all the way. Yeah, not exactly. Basically reacting from that level. So in my opinion, I think this is still the range in here that we are trading at this point. So I would like to see price even going lower in here, to be honest. And question mark is from where, right? Again, we do have this level in here. Basically price, in my opinion, kind of miss it at this point. So that was maybe one of the levels that potentially could have seen in here on the DAX to look for those sells, and then you have the other one above it, right? So that's basically kind of the two zones in here that I was more supposed to be interested in looking for. Price kind of finding a little bit of resistance at that level. Now it's still reacting from here, so basically reacting now from this demand zone in there, and price from here can actually continue to push a little bit more to the upside, and you'll see what kind of price action we are going to have at around this level in here. All right, so that's going to be a little bit of the interesting part, to see what kind of price action they're going to have around this level. Once price may get into this level or may get into the next one in there. So that's something to keep an eye on in here. Looking at crypto, right? So we were looking for that. All right, so again, I already made my prediction on crypto 10 days ago or so. So let's see. All right, now price reacting from these left shoulders, that's kind of a nice move in here. Basically we have this traction here that we have, but we do have this break to downside, and that can mean a little bit of a potential continuation to the downside in here on Bitcoin. Price reacted nicely from that level, may have left behind now kind of a supply in there, maybe even in here at the highs as well. So again, just a couple of levels in here that price could eventually go to. And again, my favorite it would be my idea it would be for price to basically close this range in here with the possibility to go even a little bit lower before eventually, again, I'm looking eventually for price to go and resume the all-time highs and eventually to stay above the 100k mark, but for now it's fighting it. I think there's still maybe a little bit more bearish signs in here. This was Ethereum as well. This was actually a trade I took, but I closed it kind of too early. So let's just do it this. Yeah, Ethereum also continued to push downside. I can see price eventually filling out this range in there. So basically, this demand zone was one of the last levels in here that was holding price, in my opinion. All right, so this is actually that example that we have many lows being broken in here, and starts opening the door. So eventually now we have this last push, this basically last demand zone, and once that's broken, basically starts opening door for price to go way further down until eventually finds the next one, with the possibility to go eventually to the other edge of the extreme, which in my opinion the range is around here at around 3100 or something like that. Like that's exactly the level where I'm eventually expecting Ethereum to, or at least retest that level one more time, retest that level one more time, potentially before moving properly to the upside. So we'll see in here on Ethereum what's going to happen. Yeah, yesterday it was kind of close to big spikes in there, in here. Yeah, so we'll see what's going to happen in there. Even looking at the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, sorry. Yeah, retracing back into this level, can even retest this level in here. That's basically something that we have also been looking for during all this time. The reaction from that level, which eventually would lead into bullishness on Ethereum, and now the reaction from here, which would eventually look for bearishness on Ethereum, maybe a little bit more strength on BTC, right? So that's exactly what we have in here, which is kind of in alignment with what we're expecting, and now we'll see how what price may eventually react from this level in there. You can actually set up an alert just to be aware of when price eventually breaks above this level. If eventually price does want to also get closer to here, can also be aware of it, to be honest. Right now, Euro Index. Like Euro Index, that's we saw a little bit of bearishness this morning on the Euro pairs. We saw Euro Dollar, Euro Aus, Euro Yen, Euro Pound, like all of them, Euro CAD as well. Basically moving to the downside, basically reacting now from this level, right? So we kind of created a little bit of that pattern. We start noticing a little bit of a break to the downside in here, kind of in here, and then eventually price just filling this gap, which in my opinion it will be just this level, to be honest. That's the first barrier in here on the Euro Index that potentially could even push price to the upside, or eventually price could go a little bit lower and getting a little bit closer to this level. So DCB is still going to be on Thursday, so it's in 2 days, not exactly tomorrow. So that's more tomorrow during the pre-market analysis. That's going to be the moment that we're going to be looking a bit more in detail on this Euro Index, to try to see how can we position ourselves and which direction we may be expecting eventually this Euro Index to move towards to. All right, let's see if we manage to break a high, for example, if it's going to resume a little bit more to downside. So we'll see what's going to happen tomorrow. Then you have the yen index, which again, there you go, right? So we marked this one yesterday. All right, that was literally a demand zone that was ignored on the way down, so it worked just perfectly as a supply now, and price reacted from it and starts pushing to the downside, right? So no surprise whatsoever with the move, with the reaction, and there's a little bit more bearishness in here on the yen index, which means a little bit more bullishness on the individual yen pairs. Now we do have definitely still the demand zone, so price still has this level in here that can look for. That's basically where price is actually reacting from. So we'll see how price may react from there, but then after that, price can actually go a little bit lower. I'm not really sure if anything in here is importing it, to be honest. I'll be looking maybe a bit more into this structure in here. So that's basically what you have in here on the yen index, something that you're going to also paying attention here on the individual yen pairs. Yeah, looking now at the individual currency pairs, it's starting of course with the euro dollar. There you go, right? So we had that reaction, and that's basically one of the last levels, and we talked about this level, right? That's basically a gap that was in here below that level. It was created with some kind of news, if not mistaken, last week, and price reacting. All right, so again, in my opinion, all this is kind of still in the middle. I want more extreme, especially in here. As I mentioned, I was not really eager to look for shorts, because I think maybe price is getting closer to a level where it potentially can start looking to the upside, even though I don't really want to go long in here neither. So I'm looking for price to get a little bit more closer into that level, even though this level was actually kind of worked quite nicely. And we'll see price now reacting from here. I would like to potentially see a continuation, but price, if it wants to go higher from here, it could as well. I wouldn't really invalidate that level neither. If I was short by any chance, this would have been one of my targets, for sure. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see now on the euro dollar. Again, hopefully tomorrow we have a little bit more of movement, and you're going to be able to predict a little bit more of where, or at least what to expect for the euro dollar on Thursday, just before the ECB. Pound, a bit more strength in here, so pushing a little bit more to the upside. Good reaction from that level. You have this double top in here. Eventually, I think pound dollar does want to go slightly higher. Not really sure if it's reached at least this structure. So yeah, that's a bit more of the buys I'm going to be looking for. Yeah, good reaction from that level in here. Nice break, and yeah, it can go a little bit more to the upside, which eventually can lead into a potential opportunity on the euro pound, which I think is going to be an interesting pair to pay attention this week. Maybe starting tomorrow, and then of course on Thursday with ECB. I think euro pound can provide a good opportunity. So we did manage to break below. All right, so we talked about that scenario where price was already reacting from this level for quite a while, which means that I didn't really like it. I think there was literally nothing here to push price up, and there was just liquidity underneath. Eventually took stop out everyone that was trying to go long from this level, and now price is approaching that level in here. Now if price does want to go a little bit lower, it can. All right, it can actually fake out this low or break that low in there. If you pay attention actually where this high is reacting from, it was actually a perfect reaction from here. There was no break to the upside. Price actually reacted really nice with this level, which means that we had literally a break to the downside in here. All right, and then we had price retracing all the way back to the origin of this move to downside, and at this point the likelihood, if I was about to bet it, I think it's actually for price to break below this structure and getting a little bit closer perhaps into this next level in here. So bigger picture, that will be a little bit more of what I'll be looking for in here on the euro pound. We can pay attention that price already kind of reacted from here, so maybe there's something underneath there where eventually price could react from. One second. Yeah, this was Brexit kind of a move. 24th, yeah, 23rd, 24th of June. Yeah, so yeah, something in here could be interesting. Let's switch with the separation occurred during Brexit on the euro pound, and price is basically retesting back into that level in here. So we'll see. By any chance, in order to look for any longs in here, we definitely need these levels to be taken. All right, so we need to see these highs at least being taken, and then potentially react from here before even aiming for anything else. But we could have a little bit of a move. So pound dollar may go slightly higher, which pushes this euro pound a little bit lower until we have a potential turn in here. Yeah, this rectangle that I have in here is yeah, it's basically this demand zone in here, which is actually still fresh in here. Right, price could actually react. We have these soft orders in here as well. I'm not sure if I have, and yeah, I don't have enough data to go below 30 minutes. So that's basically what we have in here. Yeah, but anything else, price needs to break these highs first. That's something to keep an eye on. In my opinion, I think there's going to be a good opportunity in here on euro pound to pay attention to. Aussie was something that we talked about yesterday. Like I've been talking about the scenario where I want to see this all being taken, and only after that potentially to look for longs. So I'm not going to look for anything above this high, even though price may now react from this left shoulder. To be honest, we'll see in a second. Yeah, price may be getting actually really close to that zone. We did manage to start breaking a little bit of a highs again, but then just reacted from this level. On the daily time frame is quite clear. So we continue with this kind of trend line in here as well. Just keep tracking price, and we'll see. All right. So again, as I mentioned, I'm not interested whatsoever to look for anything that is above this low. So I'll be waiting to see that low being taken. Even if price starts selling from here, I'm not interested. I do like the compression. I like the way price has been moving, and eventually can lead into a potential interesting reversal in here. But so far, yeah, just keep waiting, which leads into New Zealand. And because also in the end, of course, the correlation that there is between Aussie and New Zealand, yeah, we never managed to break this high. Price kind of hold it. I was looking eventually for a bigger turn in here on New Zealand, but we never really managed to break that one, so I skipped any longs in here as price was retracing. Again, we didn't really have any break to the upside neither, and price is still respecting this low in here, and I'm curious to see if there's anything still in there that price could react from. Otherwise, what you're going to have is actually New Zealand getting a little bit closer into this next level in there. So that will be a little bit more of what we'll be looking for in here on New Zealand. Again, do I know second which date is this? November the 3rd, 2022. I have enough data. Yeah, this is kind of a nice demand zone where price actually reacted from. Just deleted them. Yeah, just deleted. Yeah, so I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe only after New Zealand or Aussie is ready to turn, we're going to have that turn as well in here. So I'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep following it. At this point, maybe take this low, potentially reaction from here. Yeah, we'll see. At least this high broke at least that high broke a high. Broke this high in here, even though kept respecting the structure. But yeah, maybe this low is still not exactly the end of this move. Maybe price doesn't even go closer to this level, somewhere in here, to be honest. So that's something to keep an eye on, to keep tracking on the New Zealand dollar. We'll see what's going to happen. Euro Aussie, that's another one. Like, so yesterday we talked about this one. Basically, price reacted really nicely with that demand zone and now pushing to the upside in here. So that's nice. Again, bigger picture can even go higher. We did manage to break below that low, but it was a perfect reaction in here. So this definitely is a level to pay attention to in here on the Euro Aussie. Maybe this one, again, the move to downside today, it was a little bit due to the bearishness on the Euro. But the strength, actually the weakness on the Aussie is actually pushing this Euro Aussie to the upside. And again, it may be just waiting. It's another one that may be waiting for that Aussie dollar to potentially take that low before a turn. And that's maybe what we're going to be waiting in here as well on this Euro Aussie. Of course, Euro Aussie on Thursday, because of the CPI, is going to create more volatility. So it may move a little bit differently from whatever Aussie dollar is going to do, or maybe Aussie dollar is actually going to follow what Euro Aussie is going to do. So that's something to bear in mind for Thursday. But at this point, just tracking, looking to see how price may react from here. I missed this initial short, and now I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen next. All right, price can definitely still react a little bit. Even fake out these highs, get a little bit more of a reaction from here. Even though the reaction was perfect from this demand zone, there's not exactly an engulf to the downside in here. Price just respected which of these last push up, retest, and potentially could continue to go higher, eventually to challenge a little bit more to the upside. So that's one to keep an eye on as well. A pound Aussie goes a little bit in the same direction. We have seen a little bit more of bullishness on the pound, and now we are literally targeting that high, right? And all of a sudden price goes back as well into or getting closer into something in here. So that's one to pay attention to in here on the pound Aussie as well, right? So again, may go in the alignment with pound Aussie taking that level, eventually Aussie dollar taking that low, but yes, the pound a little bit more bullish at this point. Again, the reaction was really good from this demand zone, so yeah, perfect, and then continuation to the upside. So overall, it was actually quite good in here. Moving along, looking at the yen, Aussie yen, right, and starting to look into the yen pairs. Again, yeah, good reaction from there, great compression. Again, if the yen index does want to continue to push a little bit more to the downside, this one eventually is going to turn. Again, Aussie yen is a bit more in a tricky situation because again, as we have seen, Aussie is quite negative, but then the yen is also moving down, so kind of it creates a little bit of a range in here. After this initial great move to the downside that we had in there. So we'll see how price may react back into these lows, into this demand zone basically, and if there's anything in here that you can eventually look at, that potentially look for a long. Again, price just reacted with this that supply level, so that was nice. Dollar yen, just continue. That's the momentum. And the expectation is to continue to see a little bit more of a move to the upside. Maybe there's something in the middle. Maybe there's something that you need to pay attention to as well. Is perhaps, for example, this demand zone may have been rejected on the way down. Basically, I mean, rejected is ignored. Basically, price should have kind of had at least some kind of reaction from here, and it didn't really move that much, just a little bit of a reaction, pausing here, but then just start breaking it. So maybe something in there can be something to pay attention to, or also this low can be also relevant. But overall, at this point, I'm not really sure what to expect in here on this dollar yen, aside from potentially continue to push a bit more to the upside. Am I going to look for any reversals in here? I'm not sure, but looking at the higher time frame, yeah, not really much to be honest. Yeah, but good correction. Again, we did manage to break above that high, price retraced, and now continue to push more to the upside. And yes, there may be something in here that the price could fight some resistance, otherwise price starts going even higher. Yeah, euro yen. Again, we had that initial short during in the morning, and then price just corrected, and it's ranging a little bit. It reacted a bit from this level. I do think that euro yen also could go a bit more to the upside. I don't really like this structure. This ranging here doesn't really mean anything to me. Not this height doesn't really mean anything neither. So yeah, I would like to see a potential continuation, a bit more to the upside. Perhaps price getting a little bit closer into something in here. Yeah. And pound yen, as you have seen, the pound pairs have been a bit more bullish, and it just continues. All right, it just continues to push higher. This one here actually respected. Yep. A hold price, and it continues to go again. Everything was compressed. We talked about this level. Eventually, when price will turn in here, and we actually predicted its on as well. Eventually, we're going to see momentum to the upside, because during all this period in here, pound yen basically just ranged all the way, compressed all the way down, which eventually opens the door for price to just navigate through all this area, because there's no more sell orders in there, and there's some kind of small reactions and nothing much going on. And where is the target now? That's a good question, of course. Maybe price can completely fill out this, and yeah, just start paying attention a little bit towards these levels. Yeah, maybe a little bit higher, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if price actually starts moving a bit closer to that. I have this averting here, kind of that one in there as well. That's the zone at least that we that, um, yeah, so where it go? At this point, there's no bearishness, there's no signs of reversal just yet. A little bit of a compression here, but price then gaining momentum again. This level, of course, needs to be broken now. And then you have, of course, the low straight away after that. So yeah, just keeping an eye on that one to see what eventually can happen on the pound yen. We can look also at the CAD yen as well. Yeah, it just continues to be within this range, so we'll see eventually what's going to happen around this level. But nice to see that price actually managed to hold that. We can also take a look at the Aussie CAD in here, which tomorrow we can just react from it and push down. Tomorrow is going to be another one. So we had the interest rate decision in Australia. Tomorrow is going to be in Canada, so I can expect some volatility. I'm not really sure what to expect from here, to be honest. I did manage to break slightly that high, but still kind of overall within the same range. Are we going to go and challenge a bit more to the downside? Maybe could. Yeah, maybe we could. We'll see. Dollar card. All right, dollar card. This is one that I've been tracking a little bit to see if there's a potential sell opportunity. Dollar card has been quite bullish recently. All right, so if you look at the weekly candles or time frame, we see that price has been literally just breaking through everything in here, and now we're getting closer to that level again. Eventually, I could even see dollar card getting even higher in there, but for now, price could. Yeah, I'm curious to see how price may react from this level, to be honest, in here. Not sure if I have 1 hour time frame in there. Yeah, I don't have. 4 hours is basically the lowest. Yeah, somewhere in here I think could be interesting. Price, I think, fake out this well, but didn't really react from there. Then eventually you can even go all the way and start looking for potentially towards that level, or even eventually to fake out actually this about top. That may actually be eventually the target in here on the arcade and getting a little bit closer to that zone, right? So being completely aware of that. Now in the lower time frame, what price is doing in here, right? So eventually, I would like to see price filling out this range again, or getting a little bit even below that since this is already broken. Overall, today we have now a double top created. Basically, price respected really nicely that high. Start having a little bit of bearish signs, to be honest, in here. So we'll see, right? We'll see if this is enough. I'm actually now curious because the level that I have is just a little bit higher than what price was. Basically, they're talking about around 15 pips. So that's going to be something that I'll be tracking to see if there's opportunities for something like that in here on the dollar card, and eventually price can just retest this level. Here can be a good opportunity to look for. The remaining of the CAD pairs, you're looking at Euro CAD, and again tomorrow going to be interest rate in Canada, like, so that's definitely something to pay attention if you're going to have that reversal or not, or at the continuation for price to push closer to those highs. Euro CAD, this was a nice one. Unfortunately, I was not ready to trade it straight away. It was not the first part that I looked at. It was straight away at 8 a.m. in the morning. Price had already broken this low and then fake out the structure. Somewhere in here could have been an interesting short opportunity. Again, price is reacting from a good level on the left side, and now filling it, right? Filling the range, getting a little bit closer to this next level, and you'll see then what's going to happen in here. There's going to be a continuation or not. Yeah, nice move. Is there going to be any more sales from there? Perhaps we can have more sales from the highs. Eventually, price does want to push higher again. We may get closer to this level, but maybe, yeah, maybe in here that's something that could push price to the downside. All right, dollar franc Swiss is turning a little bit, so yeah, let it go. I'm just going to be interested in anything that whenever price gets into that level. So yeah, nothing really I'm looking for in here. And then we have gold, which finally had a little bit of momentum in here, and price yeah, price breaking a little bit above the structure, getting closer to this highs in here, which is more of a level that I could potentially start looking for. I like the compression. All right, I like the compression that price started to create. This could have been actually a good trading opportunity as a trend continuation setup after breaking that high. This could have been a good one. But now in the lower time frame in here, I actually like the compression that you are seeing. Price is moving up, but then kind of moving down. So basically, we're testing this level in there and looking left. Yeah, may get something from here. Then you're looking even higher. Yeah, all right. Yeah, it's maybe one to keep an eye on. Gold moving really nicely to the upside, but eventually can have some reaction. Right. Silver. Yeah, silver also continued to push a bit more. And then you have oil, which continued to be a little bit in this level. So it just reacted now from this demand zone that we had in here. Again, you are looking potentially to a position as a long in here, but price is still fighting it. Okay, critical of a new high, but price is still fighting that level. And I'm still totally open even for the possibility of price making a fake out of all these flows in here and getting closer to this and to this level and push to the upside after that. All right, so I'm totally open to that possibility in here on oil. Just something to keep an eye on. Brent, same story, right? So possibility to go there and before turning. Yeah, so that's basically it. All right, so interesting pairs to look for tomorrow. Canada, the cat pairs, they have been quite bullish. Dollar cat has been quite bullish, and now it's approaching an interesting level on the left side, which I'm going to be paying attention to. All right, price is starting to show a little bit of weakness, so that's something that I'll be tracking because we may have a push down after the news, or maybe even before the news, and then a continuation to the upside. All right, but I think there's a few levels in here that are open and that price can potentially fill before continuing to the upside, and I'm going to be looking for that potential short on the cat pairs, not just again, not just dollar card, but also even pound card, which again moving to the upside. I forgot to show this one. We're getting also closer to this level in here, something that is quite interesting, and I'm going to be looking for that. I like the compression that we have been seeing at this point, so that's definitely another one that is on my radar at this point. Yep, there's even a break in here. I love it. Yeah, so let it now take the highs, and tomorrow I'm going to be looking for that. If prices want to continue, just move to the upside. It can, right? Can go a little bit even higher into the next structure in there. Yeah, but for now, I think there may be still something in here that we could look for. I think price, for example, could could fake out this level, can use some reaction to it, could fake out into this zone in there. Yeah, price already reacted from this one. Yeah, that's basically the next structure is somewhere around here, which price may actually already reacted from, and then you have this structure in here as well. So yeah, this one in here, price already reacted. So anything in here may not really work because price already reacted from those levels. So we are looking a little bit more to the upside and looking something in here as well, which already reacted from it. Then you have the extreme of the extreme in case price actually wants to go all the way there. We do have that level as well in there, but that's something that I'll be tracking in here as well. Of course, we need to continue to track to see if there's going to be any break to the downside or not. For example, this structure in here may be important now that we managed to break all this highs in there, so or to see if this level holds or not. Yeah, that's definitely something to pay attention. So cut pairs, I think, is going to be quite interesting. Before that, we have the CPI, which at this point, dollar index and the euro pound and the not euro pound dollar, euro dollar, pound dollar, and so on. It's a bit indecised. We can see a bit of bullishness now at the end of the session, but I'm not really sure. I think pound dollar could fake out these most recent highs and then eventually turn, which can lead actually into an interesting opportunity on the euro pound. All right, so euro pound did manage to break down these most recent lows, and eventually we could have a potential turning here, right? So that's definitely something to pay attention. May even go all the way to take this low as well before pushing. Yeah, that's definitely something to pay attention. If by any chance euro pound just wants to continue to push more, then pound dollar most likely is going to go higher in here. Yeah, paying attention to this level in here. Also, that's going to be something to look for. The US indices a bit more bearish again. Good reaction on the S&P, Nasdaq, and I think there's maybe more sell opportunities at the highs whenever price represses those Monday highs, basically. So that's something also to pay attention. Gold moving to the upside, maybe get closer a little bit to potentially see some retracement as well as prices moving upwards. And oil, I'm looking to see as well if price continues to go a little bit lower. And then we have the Aussie, which is another one that we've been looking for, just to see if we're going to have eventually the break of that low on the left side, and then after that we could look for the longs. Like at least take that low, and that can also be a trigger eventually for the Aussie, even New Zealand as well. That's another one. So yeah, with that being said, guys, thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow.